What's up, guys? Hazy Ames here. Got another video for you tonight, today, wherever you're at in the world. We're going to be reviewing Dishonored 2. I played the first game and thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was a great game, deserved every award that it got back in the day. I understand now why people had a lot of good things to say for this game when it originally came out. And now I'm on to the second one, beat the second one. They're both roughly about the same length in gameplay. 8.8 hours of playtime on Dishonored. On the second one, 8.7. So about 9 hours to get through the campaign. I didn't do a whole lot of side missions on either game or a whole lot of side stuff. Didn't replay it at all. Specifically in Dishonored 2, you could replay it again as Corvo. But I decided to play through the game as Emily because I want to experience a different character other than Corvo. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into the review here, starting off with graphics. Guys, graphics definitely got better from the first one to the second one. Definitely, it's dated still, obviously. This game came out, a few years ago, but it does look really good. The aesthetics, the immersion felt really good. It has that same, 1920s feel almost to it. And I think it fits the game. The graphics look good. The immersion is good. The backdrops and the worlds look good. No complaints on the graphics. The graphics look good. Graphics, I give a 8 out of 10. But yeah, keep in mind if you do pick this up, the graphics will be a little dated. But I thought, they look good. And the first one looked good as well, I thought. Sound and music, kind of the same story as the first game. I didn't notice a whole lot of the music. The music was a little more noticeable, but I was so busy trying to stealth around and survive gunfights and sword fights that I didn't have a whole lot of time to sit back and just listen to the music. So the music is meh. It's all right. It's there. It serves its purpose, right? Sound, as far as the guns and the sword sounds, everything sounded good. Environment sounds were good. Voice acting throughout all the characters I thought was solid. Honestly, for the most part, I feel like they took Dishonored 2. For the most part, I feel like Dishonored 2 is Dishonored on steroids. There are a few things that I didn't care for, and we'll discuss that here when we get into gameplay. But yeah, Dishonored 2 is a solid game. Had some solid voice acting. Everything sounded good as far as the sound. Sound music, I give a 7 out of 10, just because the music wasn't really memorable to me. Moving on to characters and story. I might get tore apart for saying this, but I like Dishonored's story more than Dishonored 2's story. And I think a lot of that had to do with some things that they introduced into Dishonored 2 that kind of threw me off a little bit. It was weird to me when they threw in the supernatural enemies. I guess we'll call them just the void enemies, I guess we'll call them, or the witches that protected and were kind of I can't even think of the Delilah. It kind of threw me off that protected Delilah. I didn't care a whole lot for that side of the story. And that might just be personal preference. I really liked the first game where it was just, it was just guards, and their little, I forget what they're called, the guards on the walkers, but it was mainly all humans, nothing supernatural you were fighting. And in this one, it just kind of threw me for a loop. And like I said, maybe that's just me personally didn't care for it. It made some of the gameplay aspects feel wonky at times, and I'll get into that when I get to gameplay. But characters and story, I give 7 out of 10. Story was good, had a few twists and turns here, but honestly, I felt like the first game had more twists and turns, because really the only twists and turns in this one I felt like uh, were kind of early on in the story, and that's kind of all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, there were a few minor ones later on, but it was pretty straightforward once you kind of knew what was going on in the world and what you were trying to accomplish. Essentially, you have what you think are people you can trust, and they all get corrupted by the villain, and they all kind of turn on you, and then you have to, then you have to figure out how you're going to essentially take back your throne, because you have been dethroned by all these corrupt individuals, and then the main villain, Delilah. But still a solid story, still solid characters, still solid character development, great voice acting, like I said in the sound. So characters and stories, like I said, I give a 7 out of 10. I think I gave Dishonored an 8 out of 10, but I do like the story of Dishonored better than this one. It's just, like I said, it might be personal preference, just the way I'm feeling. All right, now on to gameplay. Gameplay, I felt, was very solid, very well done. The one thing I disliked, like I already mentioned, was the supernatural enemies that we fought in this game, because I feel like it made some of the stealth aspects wonky and some of the sword fights wonky, just because you're trying to be stealth, but these witches or void enemies, whatever you want to call them, can do certain abilities to where the stealth almost in the sword play is kind of frustrating, because the way that they can move around so quickly, and that's what I'll leave it at, because I don't want to give it away too much on some of the abilities that they have. The other thing that was weird to me was the hellhounds, I guess, if you want to call them, that were part of the void enemies, void enemy group. Those were a little weird to me. Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it, because those are supernatural enemies with their supernatural pets, I guess. The robots enemies that you just saw me fight there, I actually didn't care for. I thought those actually kind of fit into the world better than, say, the supernatural stuff. Again, might be personal preference. I did think they introduced some cool new like arrows, new bolts that you can use with your weapon. But as far as like the skill tree and things like that, pretty much the same as what you saw in the first game, Dishonored. You know, the gun, the crossbow, your abilities, your bone charms, traps, grenades, everything like that played very similar to the first game, and it felt good, just like the first game did. So gameplay, I give 8 out of 10. I think I gave the first game a 9 out of 10. Again, I take away a point just because I didn't care for the supernatural aspects that were thrown into this game. And granted, I know there were supernatural aspects in the first game because you had void powers from the void, but it didn't feel right with when I was fighting other supernatural enemies, if that makes any sense at all. I felt like in this particular game that stealth was a little harder to keep. I felt like there was a lot more instances where I would get into a building like this and I would try to stay stealthy, and then I would get seen, and then it's just turning into Rambo mode, right? You know, this first area here, I do a pretty good job of staying stealth. The other thing that really kind of threw me for a loop was in the first Dishonored, you could restock at home base, you could get bolts, you could do upgrades to your gear, things like that. In Dishonored 2, unfortunately, you have to find the black market, which is where you can buy all of your ammo, accessories, upgrade your gear. and you went to the black market is located in each and every level, which it's good that it's in each and every level, but it doesn't necessarily flat out say this is where the black market is. You can kind of always find it if you use the heart, and you can find where there's a rune, and the black market seems to always be early on in the levels. So you look for a rune early on in the level, and that's probably where your black market is. So if you're looking for the black market, having problems find it, when you spawn into the zone, pull out your heart, look for the rune, and then that should be close to somewhere where the black market is. Another interesting thing that they did in this game was there was an item, I can't remember what it was, but it made it so you could switch timelines. So like if you looked at something, it looked one way, and then you switch the time, then it turned to something else. It was kind of a puzzly aspect to a certain level. That's the only level that you use that item in. I honestly kind of wish they would have just scrapped that idea entirely and focused on maybe making the game longer with more story elements or adding something else. I didn't care a whole lot for that part of the game with the time shifting puzzle, but it was okay. It was different, kind of broke the game up a little bit. I kind of went on a bit of a rant and ramble there. But yeah, gameplay 8 out of 10. I believe that's like the third time I've said that. Sorry guys, you know me, I get off on little tangents. I do appreciate each and every one of you that do stop by. But guys, that is just about it. Bugs, didn't run into any bugs, no issues there. Replayability, yes, you could replay it with whatever character you didn't play through with the first time. I played with Emily. I could go back and play through with Corvo, or you can do a new game plus, or I believe there is, I don't know if it's in Dishonored 2 or the third game. I know I just started playing the third one, so sorry if this is incorrect information, but it looked like there was a mode to play with all powers. I think that was on the third game, maybe. But yeah, replayability, you got another character you could play through with. You could play through with Corvo or Emily, whichever one you didn't play with. You could play on a harder difficulty. You could play on New Game Plus. You could go achievement hunting. There's quite a few achievements. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if you played Dishonored 2, what you thought of Dishonored 2, if you preferred the original game over Dishonored 2. I'm currently playing Dishonored 3, and just from the little bit that I've played of Dishonored 3, I feel like it should have been a DLC for one of these games. Like it should have been a Dishonored 2 DLC maybe, just from my initial impressions. And I've already know that it's quite a bit shorter than these games. And I'm like, how much shorter can you get? You know, like these were only 9-hour campaigns. You're going to get shorter than that in the third one. But we'll see how it goes. I know the third one wasn't received very well, but I'm going to get through it. I'll put out another review, and then I will have played through all of the Dishonored games and kind of see where the third one takes us. I'm having fun playing the third one, but we'll see how it ends up and give my review on that one. I appreciate each and every one of you stopping by again. Have a good day or a night wherever you're at in the world. Please like and sub. It would mean the world to me. Much love, and we will see you on the next one.